At 19 years old, Austin Myers would become the youngest death row inmate in the state of Ohio.
The defendant in this case, Austin Myers, is just 19 years old, and this is a capital case.
The Warren County jury took 6 hours to decide that 19-year-old Austin Myers deserves to die for murdering Justin Back.
It won't bring Justin back. It's only going to hurt more innocent people.
Justin's family doesn't have the opportunity to have a phone call or a letter. Nothing will bring Justin home.
Death penalty, but he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
A jury recommends execution for the Wayne Township teenager convicted of killing his friend.
We will be asking for death for this individual.
Facts and procedural history. On January 27, 2014, Myers and Mosley plotted to burglarize the home of Justin Back, a known drug dealer or his childhood friend. They decided to burglarize Mark Cate's home, which was believed to have a safe containing arms and money. Myers and Mosley planned to slay Back by injecting him with cold medicine and poisonous bug wash. They also planned to slay Back by strangling him with a wire, taking the safe, and dumping his body in a remote wooded area. They purchased ammonia, septic tank cleaner, and rubber gloves to decompose the body in cold weather. After the slaying, Myers and Mosley wrapped Back's body in a blanket, cleaned up the crime scene, and found the safe and a handgun belonging to Cates. They shoved Back's body into Mosley's car and left the house with the stolen items. They dumped Back's body in a field in Preble County and shot him twice with a stolen handgun before it jammed.
The defendant in this case, Austin Myers, is just 19 years old, and this is a capital case.
If any, as we were, obviously Justin was trying to put up a fight.
At 19 years old, Austin Myers would become the youngest death row inmate in the state of Ohio.
Justin was trying to ask us why. He was clean to stop.
We've learned where investigators found the body, and police gave insight into how they made the arrest so fast.
We were at the house. When Austin used the restroom, he said that he saw the safe and that he saw that it was indeed cracked.
Myers' jury trial began on September 22, 2014, and he was found guilty on all counts and specifications. The penalty phase was held on October 6, 2014, and Myers was sentenced to demise. His conviction and ending sentence were upheld by the Ohio Supreme Court. In 2016, Myers filed a petition for post-conviction relief, challenging the constitutionality of the ending penalty and Ohio statutes governing its imposition. The trial court denied Myers' discovery motions, finding that amended RC 2953.21 was not applicable in the case at bar. Myers filed a memorandum opposing the state's motion for summary judgment in November 2018. Analysis of Myers versus Ohio. A post-conviction proceeding is a civil attack on a criminal judgment, not an appeal of a conviction. To prevail, the petitioner must establish a violation of their constitutional rights that renders the judgment void or voidable. A post-conviction relief petition or PCR does not provide a second opportunity to litigate their conviction and is not automatically entitled to an evidentiary hearing. The doctrine of res judicata can be defeated by the presentation of competent, relevant, and material evidence outside the record. Evidence outside the record must demonstrate that the petitioner could not have appealed the constitutional claim based upon information in the original record. The evidence outside the record is marginally significant and does not advance the petitioner's claim beyond a mere hypothesis and a desire for further discovery. Res judicata still applies to the claim. The trial court does not abuse its discretion in dismissing a PCR petition without an evidentiary hearing if, number 1, the petitioner fails to set forth sufficient operative facts to establish substantive grounds for relief, or number 2, the operation of res judicata prohibits the claims made in the petition.
The Warren County jury took 6 hours to decide that 19-year-old Austin Myers deserves to die for murdering Justin Back. To be a clean and neat murder.
That's the testimony today from one of the 2 teenagers accused of killing Justin Back.
Justin's family doesn't have the opportunity to have a phone call or a letter. Nothing will bring Justin home.
I do know that Justin was set to go to the military sometime next month.
Who merely tried to call into question whether Austin Myers was the mastermind or if it was his co-defendant Timothy Mosley.
Myers filed a series of discovery motions seeking a variety of information, records, and depositions. The trial court divided his request into 9 categories, including records from the Warren County Children's Services, the Warren County Jail, grand jury proceedings, Mosley's institutional records, and records from the prosecutor's office and law enforcement agencies. Myers argued that the trial court erred in denying his motions for discovery on his claims of ineffective assistance of counsel during the guilt phase, penalty phase, and challenging the constitutionality and propriety of the ending sentence for a 19-year-old offender. However, the court found that Myers' requested discovery was more of a fishing expedition and that his claims were barred by res judicata. The trial court dismissed several grounds against Myers' ending sentence, including the failure to consider the RC 2929.11 purposes of felony sentencing, violating Myers' 8th Amendment rights, disproportionate punishment for Myers, and unconstitutionality for a youthful offender. The court also dismissed grounds 5 and 46 through 48, stating that the Ohio Supreme Court has already addressed the age of youthful offenders and has not extended the ending penalty ban.
Convicted murderer today to death row. Local 12's Adam Clements was inside the courtroom as Austin Myers learned his sentence.
Defense attorneys say they do plan to appeal the death penalty sentence, which often comes with a lengthy and complicated process.
Our jury recommends execution for the Wayne Township teenager convicted of killing his friend.
We will be asking for death for this individual.
Death penalty, but he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Dismissal of allegations and forfeiture. The trial court dismissed several grounds in a case involving Myers, a man accused of a slaying. The court found that the focus of an inquiry into allegations of prosecutorial misconduct is upon the fairness of the trial, not upon the culpability of the prosecutor. Myers did not raise the claim of prosecutorial misconduct in his PCR petition and has therefore forfeited it. Ground 50 alleges that Myers' due process rights were violated when privileged attorney-client discussions were potentially broadcast through the courthouse and into the prosecutor's office via the trial court's audio-video recording system. Ground 58 alleges that the elected prosecutor engaged in misconduct by extensively posting about the case on his county prosecutor Facebook and Twitter accounts during and after the trial and via statements he made in an interview during a 2016 BBC documentary. The trial court did not err in dismissing Ground 58 as the prosecutor's post-trial social media posts, post-trial media statements, and statements in the 2016 BBC documentary are irrelevant and could not and did not deprive Myers of a fair trial. Grounds 54 and 55 challenged the trial court's denial of Myers' motion to suppress his involuntary statements to Detective Michael Wyatt, arguing that he did not understand his Miranda rights and never signed a waiver. The Supreme Court overruled Myers' proposition of law, stating that the same facts and historical information were known and available to Myers at the time of his direct appeal to the Supreme Court. Grounds 6 and 10 through 17 of his PCR petition were summarily dismissed, alleging numerous instances of ineffective assistance and counsel during the guilt phase of the trial. The trial court found that the extent and scope of cross-examination fall within trial strategy and debatable trial tactics do not establish ineffective assistance of counsel. The trial court dismissed Myers' claims that his trial counsel provided constitutionally defective performance during the penalty phase of his capital trial without allowing discovery or an evidencing hearing. Myers argued that the trial court erred in dismissing grounds 19 through 45, alleging several instances of ineffective assistance of counsel during the penalty phase. The defense counsel failed to conduct a competent mitigation investigation, consult with a competent mitigation specialist, present expert testimony, and present numerous witnesses. The trial court dismissed these grounds for relief, finding that the failure to call witness is a trial strategy that does not raise to a constitutional violation. A PCR petition is not a vehicle to substitute another trial strategy for one that failed, and that defense counsel did argue Myers' youth and mitigation. During the penalty phase, defense counsel presented testimony from Myers' father, mother, and younger brother, Bryce, who testified about Myers' family history, family breakdown, and his close bond with his siblings. Myers made an unsworn statement expressing his regret and wish for the ending penalty to be avoided.
And today the jury also heard from Myers' parents and his 15-year-old brother. They all said he was disappointed.
It won't hurt me. I won't feel anything. It's going to hurt more innocent people.
First time the jury heard from Austin Myers himself. He spoke to them for about 3 minutes, occasionally looking down at his notes.
It won't bring Justin back. It's only going to hurt more innocent people.
Still love him and believe he can be a positive influence if the jury decides to give him life over death.
Myers submitted affidavits and reports from several experts related to adolescent brain development, arguing that this evidence established substantive grounds for relief and he is entitled to discovery and an evidentiary hearing on his PCR petition. The state argues that the defense counsel's decision not to present expert testimony regarding Myers' dysfunctional family, self-mutilation, and mental health issues was inconsistent with their mitigation theory. The trial court remanded the case for an evidentiary hearing on grounds 21, 44, and 45 of the PCR petition, which allege ineffective assistance of counsel at the penalty phase for failing to present expert testimony on adolescent brain development in conjunction with Myers' age and mental health issues. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.